9 legs, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. At the end, our champion will be crowned, and we are off. A nice start from everyone. Claire Adorna there held up by Zefiris, and there is Bo Grant alongside her, but in the middle, that is Lucy Hall. Very, very important to have a good swim at the start of this. We know how hard it is to come back once you're on the bike course. There's not a lot of room for error out there. There's not a lot of room to pass either. So a good swim and good positioning is key, as we saw Ashley Gentle, for example, have to battle back from a couple of tough swims and rely on her other legs that really took it out of her, and she was gallant in her third position yesterday. She's the only one who managed to weave her way through the field like that. So the women are approaching the first buoy. We can see how close together the two of them are. And I think it's Cassandra Beaugrand who remains in the lead, but a lot tighter, I suppose. Beaugrand was about, I'd say, 3 lengths ahead each time yesterday, and there's no doubt this is a slower swim because these women know exactly how hard this is going to be. In this heat, the Enduro leaves no room for error whatsoever.
That's Emma Jeffcoat, Danielle DiFrancesco, and it looks like another, I think that's Summer Rappaport right there. So they've had a magnificent start, because surprisingly, Cassandra Beaugrand, we saw this in Jersey. She was magnificent on day 1 of racing, and it's all what happens in the recovery between these two races. Yesterday it was ridiculously hot. They were destroyed after the event, and the recovery between yesterday and now is critical. And Cassandra, we saw this in Jersey, was just not as good on the Sunday's racing as she was on the Saturday.
Spoke to Danielle DiFrancesco at breakfast this morning. There she is in the middle of those 3 leaders, the Australian. She's renowned for her swim. She knows she needs to have a very good swim. She, as I say, is racing for a contract, a top 10 spot. There's athletes like Yuko Takahashi, Charlotte McShane, Ashley Gentle, Emma Jeffcoat, and DiFrancesco, all aiming for a contract for next season if they can finish in the top 10. If they don't, and all the other athletes, if they want to race in season 2019-20, will have to go to one of 3 qualifying events, which are filled, at least the one in Bali, which is next month, with quality athletes who know that they want to be a part of this series as well. Yeah, you saw Rachel Clammer, who's right on Emma Jeffcoat's feet. She's had a magnificent start, got around that first swim buoy perfectly. Emma Jeffcoat in the blue swimmer's jersey. You'll see in the green jersey, right behind her is Emma Jeffcoat with Lucy Hall. That's Rachel Clammer,
Rachel
with
Clammer,
Lucy Hall, yes. So a good swim from Emma Jeffcoat, a good swim from Danielle DiFrancesco. They led out of the water yesterday and led the first couple of laps on the bike along with Taylor Spivey. Danielle crashing yesterday, so to get back Spivey up and be out there today, yeah. But you got to look at what's happening at the back of the pack, because the last 2 athletes that get up out of this swim exit onto the ramp will be taken out of the race. They will be eliminated. That will happen in each discipline today. So it's what's happening at the front is critical, staying out of problems and staying out of trouble, staying close, but not drifting too far back in each discipline, otherwise you're gone. That's right, 2 eliminated at the end of the swim, 2 at the bike, 2 at the run. That happens every single discipline, as we say. Jeffcoat out of the water, DiFrancesco as well. There is Clammer, there is Yuko Takahashi. Taylor Spivey's out of the water too. She's safe, Zefiris is safe. Who's going to come out last? Of course, it's when we cross the timing mat, which is at the top of this ramp. Who's at the back there? Is it Erin Story and potentially Elena Danilova? Gone. Those 2 are gone already. The dreaded yellow flag put up by Michael Thompson, the race referee, is what you'll see all day for the last 2 athletes. Once they see the yellow flag, they're eliminated. They're either fallen 90 seconds back, or they will be eliminated for being the last 2 on course. Well, that hurts. That hurts indeed. A 300-metre swim, and that's the day done. Maria Clara Dorner, she survives. Leonie Perrio's a little bit further in the pack than she would have liked. And this gets dangerous for her now on the bike ride. The same thing applies for this bike section. You have 5 laps to move up. The last 2 across the line will be taken out. So the safe place to be is where Emma Jeffcoat in the blue jersey is right now with Yuko Takahashi, Daniela DiFrancesco. There's Lucy. My apologies, that wasn't Erin Story. That was Kim Kilgrove of the Philippines and Elena Danilova, I think, of Russia, were our 2 eliminated athletes. Cassandra Beaugrand and Katie Zefiris are a lot further back than they need to be. This is the last rider on course, so they're sitting in 3rd and 4th last position, which
is a danger spot to be in. They definitely need to move up.
All right, a tough transition and a tough swim for Claire Adorna. So we'll keep an eye on her. At the front, it's Jeffcoat. Takahashi's moved her way up as well. Lucy Hall's there, as is Cassandra Beaugrand, Charlotte McShane. They're taking this nice and slow through this chicane. This is where Taylor Spivey saw grief early on in the race yesterday. A little bit cooler conditions, I suppose, today. A little bit more cloud cover here in Singapore, which helps, and a slight breeze as well.
Without question. It seems to be a little more humid, though. I was walking around. I'm sweating a lot more than I was yesterday,
yeah,
but
it's fairly disgusting here in the commentary box. Thanks, Macca.
Rachel Clemmer staying close there in the green jersey. There's Taylor Spivey shadowing her move. That's the race we're watching today for the podium positions. But it's Katie Zafaris that needs to move up a little bit, I think. She's with Cassandra Beaugrand shadowing her, but they're a little bit further back than they need to be. And I'm looking on screen here, I think there's only two, so number 51 is
Vanessa Del Torre, the Mexican athlete. She was out early yesterday as well. She'll be looking for a better start. She's right on the bubble back there, and the field quite well strung out too, as unlike the Eliminator, where the front runners can maybe rest easy a little bit, knowing they can make it through to the next stage without being eliminated. There's no room for that here. Jeffcoat, Takahashi, DiFrancesco, Summer Rappaport. Was Summer Cook, if you're just joining us, got married across the Christmas break. Rachel Clemmer and Lucy Hall from Taylor Spivey. Charlotte McShane, Laura Lindeman's moved up. Leonie Perriot.
You just saw Katie Zafaris come off that dead turn around the back of the finish line to complete lap one, and I think she realised I'm a little bit further back than I want to be, and this group is starting to escape. It's the furthest back I've ever seen Katie in a race. So she needs to close this gap and move up a little bit, because the maths show that as each discipline goes through, there's more chance for you to be eliminated at the back of the field.
We need to mention again at the start of this race, which is going to be absolutely brutal, we can also see more than 2 athletes eliminated at the end of each leg, depending on if they fall foul of the 90-second rule. If they are 90 seconds back at any transition, they will be eliminated along with 2 other athletes, if that is indeed what happens. So 3 come through transition, more than 90 seconds back, they'll all go as well. Until we arrive with 6, if we get down to 6 athletes out there on course, we'll stop the eliminations, and it'll be a Super 6 shootout, I think is what we wanted to call it.
Exactly. At the moment, it's Vanessa Del Toro from Mexico, who's back in that second last position. I haven't quite been able to see who's sitting in last position.
Claire Adorna, I think, is last.
But Laura Lindeman, I was speaking with her coach this morning at breakfast over at the W Hotel, and she was she liked this format, and he said, I can stay up there, it's a more paced format, I can stay up near the front, try and stay out of trouble, hope some damage happens behind that I don't have to enforce, and then see how it shoots out in that last swim bike run.
There is our last placed athlete, Claire Adorna, who is making her debut in Super League Triathlon, and it's finding the going a little bit fast just at the moment. The Filipino from gold medalist in the Southeast Asian Games in Singapore 2015, a silver in 2017, both in swimming, on 7 golds at the 2010 Philippine Games. So she knows how to swim. She didn't have a great one, certainly in that 300 metres. So Zafiris moves her way up to 12, our championship leader, ahead of Hilda Choi, Cassandra Beaugrand, Desiree Reidner, and Hoi Long of Macau. Claudia Seabok went out early yesterday as well, the Hungarian. She promises so much. A couple of Americans in Erin Story and Megan Foley will find themselves on the bubble at the end of this bike if it stays the way it is. But right now, it's your bike split leader, Rachel Clemmer, who is in a match race. We keep saying that with Taylor Spivey.
She was sitting in third, Taylor Spivey, there, number 4 on a helmet.
So those two will be watching each other very closely, because the winner essentially will take second place in the series and $50,000 US, and third place 25. So there's 25,000 reasons to beat your opponent in that one. There is Erin Story at the back of that long train of athletes, led now by Emma Jeffcoat, who won stage 1 yesterday, picked up $1,000 US for a trouble, looks in fine form. Has been working very hard over the Christmas break, and she's having her best weekend of Super League Triathlon.
Charlotte McShane looking a lot better than she did yesterday as well. She said she felt better in the second round, but she was eliminated yesterday. But I think you see how the athletes recover from the day's racing, and some do it better than others, and Charlotte looks a lot better on the bike than she did yesterday, without question.
Each of the rounds she's done better on day 2 than in day 1, and that's just the makeup of her physiology, I suppose, as an athlete, and mentally as well. Gets into a weekend's racing and does her best work as they come across the dismount line once more. The crowd building here despite the heat. Great crowd around the start-finish line, where our VIP area is and the kids' playground in the background. That's where you and I are sitting right now, actually, in the playground there.
We are. Right behind them. It's this straight that's, if you watch what happens on the race, when they come up from this first straight, Taylor Spivey, it's the easiest section. They're running straight into a headwind there. It seems to be a little bit cooler. They'll juck around the back of the restaurants. There's no wind there at all. It's probably the hottest section of the bike course and the run course. So it's equal. And then you get to the chicane. And yesterday we saw the chicane is where a lot of the congestion happens. So what's happening for a lot of these athletes' heads right now is they're thinking, because of these eliminations, what do I do in this next race? You think of Ashley Gentle, who is weaker in the swim. Does she push this run as she gets off the bike, give herself a margin of error to ensure that she's protected from that elimination?
Yeah, that creeping elimination zone, it comes up very, very quickly as they come through the chicane once again. And a couple of people found grief there, including Taylor Spivey. So the women taking it a little bit more serenely, I suppose, than the men tend to do.
It's just so hot along that section. I can't describe it.
Well, you've spent the whole week in those restaurants along that section, so I can. You're best placed to tell us.
it's really, really hot. It's nice in the afternoons when I'm spending time there. I avoid it like the plague in the day.
You can see those marks there on Taylor Spivey's shoulder. That's the one that hit the ground through the chicane yesterday. She leads ahead of Clamor, Spivey, and Takahashi. There is Katie Zafiris.
See a lot of the athletes with their swim goggles already down the top of their racing suits. That's just to make those transitions a little faster. They know the run's next. It's getting into the water, getting into those positions. What's very, very difficult with this course is moving up. There's only 2 sections on that hot section we talked about earlier, and this straight here that you want to do it. But you can see the intensity between today's racing and yesterday's racing is definitely softer. They're pacing this event more than they did yesterday.
Taylor Spivey is now in the lead, 2 spots up on Rachel Clamor. The two of them need to keep a watch on those. Number 4, Spivey and Clamor in the green. And Taylor Spivey leads after a 7th place yesterday, coming back from an accident in the opening stage. Jeff Coate in between those two. Plenty of talent up there, though. Takahashi
Leonie Perrier yesterday. Leonie Perrier yesterday was magnificent. She was very, very strong. She raced out of her skin, and she sits very, very well on a bike, and she seems very, very tactically astute. She's got her eyes on what's happening up ahead. She's about in the 6th or 7th position. You see her in the center of the screen, just turning now. And she's got Ashley Gentle behind her, who's probably the strongest bike rider on course.
Takahashi leads from McShane in 4th and 5th position. DeFrancesco dropped back to 6th. There is Ash Gentle, Katie Zafiris, and Cassandra Beaugrand, all 3 of them on our podium yesterday.
Big horsepower at the back of that group.
Yes, there is. And it's hard. If you come into the back of a train to that chicane right there, you have to slow up very early as everyone in front of you slows up to make sure they make it through. And by the time you get around to the back of the course here, suddenly the leaders have disappeared off into the distance.
I think this is the best place to be, in my opinion. Emma Jeffcoat did it yesterday.
At the front?
At the front, just out of trouble. I think you can pace the race. It's not all out like yesterday's eliminator format. You get to control it. Unless someone's urgently trying to get through, which I don't think anyone's going to go this early, you get to dictate terms. And I think Taylor Spivey's doing a very, very smart piece of racing right now.
Lucy Hall, and there is Hilda Choi are going tough all out on their own. Desiree Rydner gave her all yesterday in the opening stage. Got through to stage 2, but didn't look like she was going to be able to. Megan Foley and Erin Story, they know how important this is. And as they come across the line, we're going to lose 2 athletes.
Last 2 off this bike are eliminated from the race. This is a critical run. We saw this in Jersey on both the men's and women's side. The importance of setting up this run as the race starts to unfold after this next swim leg.
All right, Hall is off. Hilda Choi is off. Here's our athletes at the back. The yellow flag's going to come out. Desiree Rydner makes it through. Claudia Seebock, Erin Story, and Megan Foley. So here I can see the yellow flag just creeping into screen there.
Safe. There's the Michael Thompson, the dreaded yellow flag.
Look at him smiling. He enjoys it. He enjoys this.
Eliminated.
Mean. And Claire Adorna is an eliminated athlete. Coming in behind her, who's that?
Vanessa Del Toro.
Ah, Vanessa Del Toro. So unfortunate for the Mexican and the Filipino, but rounds of applause for their efforts as well, coming from those along the finishing straight. At the front though, Rachel Clamor, 4th in the Cape Town World Cup a couple of weeks ago. Loves to start a season, had a win in Abu Dhabi last year.
You can see them hugging the left-hand side of the course, right? It's the shaded area. That right side is hot. This is the hot section I was telling you near the restaurants where there's absolutely 0 wind. They'll make a right-hand turn here. and they're just trying to get as much shade as they possibly can. The accumulative heat in this race will heat up, and it's all about conserving for that last part. We saw in Jersey the last time we did the Enduro format, the athletes falling apart in that last triathlon. Taylor Spivey
there is watching Emma Jeffcoat and Rachel Clammer just with a little break on the field. You can see coming around the corner there is Charlotte McShane leading the chasing pack with Spivey behind Takahashi. Katie Zafiris has moved up, as has Bo Grant, Summer Rappaport, Leonie Perriot, Ashley Gentle, and Laura Lindemann last of all in that group of athletes, and they seem to have turned the pace on a little, and there's a big gap behind them. But at the front, it's Rachel Clammer of the Netherlands, been training in Africa with her fiancé, Richard Murray, who we know is going to be strong in the men's race again. Always great, as I say, early in the season. She had a stitch in Cape Town, which I'm glad happens to everyone and not just me. Had a stomach bug as well and managed to end up in 4th. 28-year-old, twice an Olympian. Some great results last year throughout the WTS, and she'd love to start 2019 with a win in the women's enduro. Emma Jeffcoat, as we said yesterday, just her swim's always been strong, but I'm impressed with what the rest of her race looks like in this one, as opposed to the end of last year.
Oh, without question, she's a completely different athlete than she was in Malta and Mallorca, and she dominated the early stages yesterday. She looks magnificent today. And it's an interesting tactic from Rachel Clammer. She needs to control her emotions a little bit. You've got a lot of running power in that group behind with Cassandra Beaugrand. You've got Ashley Gentle there. You've got Katie Zafiris. You need to control those emotions. It's going to be difficult to try and run away from them this early. And, you know, it's probably a safer play, which is what they seem to be doing now, in moving back in this group and safety and playing safety in numbers.
It is a long, long race, the enduro. Swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. It just keeps going, no breaks whatsoever. 8 transitions, 9 legs, and if you're just joining us, 2 eliminated at the end of each leg of racing. So as we come around for the first lap of the first run, 1 more lap and we'll find 2 more to go. Laura Lindemann's dropped off the back of that group, the German, the 22-year-old. She comes back to racing after missing the rest of, well, all of this season. She was there in Jersey in 2017, but she hasn't tasted Super League since then, and the pace in each round has risen as athletes have learned how to get the most out of their bodies in this format.
Charlotte McShane also starting to yo-yo off the back of that group, and that's a dangerous position to be in. It gives you a lot of work to do in the next discipline, and if you find yourself alone, that's probably the worst position you could be in a race like this. With the draft legal bike ride, you want to work with others in the race, and if you find yourself solo, you suddenly come up for the possibility of elimination.
So Rachel Clammer alongside Ashley Gentle, who has spent her weekend thus far chasing, and now she sits at the front of the pack, which is a much more comfortable position for the Australian, who has had such great results in 2018. Summer Rappaport has moved her way up too. She has been in and out of the red run splits jersey. She's such a good runner. She's worked a lot on her technical bike skills, and she's needed all of that work on this course, 900 metres with plenty of twists and turns and narrow sections. Cassandra Beaugrand has, you can see her on the left of screen there, behind Gentle, probably the best runner in triathlon, although she was outrun by Katie Zafiris yesterday, and Emma Jeffcoat in the blue on the right, the Australian. Has some great World Cup wins towards the end of 2018 as well. And there is Leonie Perriot as well, who was a little bit further back, but has made sure she's joining this front group.
Emma Jeffcoat, we've talked about her earlier, but I think for herself, she'd be very proud of herself. To be running in this company, she's renowned as a big swim biker. She's been used a lot by the Australian team to close a lot of gaps in these teams races in the World Championship Series, but she's a runner now, and she's sitting with the best runners in the sport and dictating terms. Laura Lindemann. She struggled a little bit yesterday in the heat. She needs to close up a little bit if she can, but I don't think that's going to happen. And
you can see her looking across there and watching them disappear around the corner. That's the W Hotel there in the background, and when you see the W Hotel, you know they're in the back part of the course and they're on the tarmac or the grass, depending if you're Leo Berger, who didn't run in his shoes yesterday and so ran along the grass when he could. Something different. Super League just throwing up all kinds of variables. But there is your lead group. Rachel Clammer, the Dutch woman, in the green. Ashley Gentle, the Australian, in the middle. Summer Rappaport, number 99.
Trying to look for Taylor Spivey. She's at the back there.
Rappaport currently in 6th position, equal with Jodie Stimson, who isn't here. So effectively in 5th position, behind Spivey, Klammer, Kirsten Casper, who's not here, and Katie Zafiris is our championship leader as they...
There's Summer Cook getting her goggles out.
On. Yep. Already getting ready to get back into the water once again. Every athlete I've spoken to who tackled the eliminator yesterday said everything was fine until they had to get into the water for the 2nd time. And it was 29 degrees, and that was where people realised that they were right up against it, and they're about to hop into the water for the 2nd time. But this time there is no 10-minute break.
They're straight in.
And they're straight in. So the goggles go on, the caps go on.
This is such a tough format. Such a tough format. This is when you start to feel it. The diving in for a swim after a tough run like this is got to be the hardest thing you can possibly do. All the blood's in the legs. You need to move it to the arms to get swimming quickly. Your head's underwater, so if you need air, you've got to get it out and get it. It's so hard. If you haven't done it, go and try it in training. It's very, very difficult.
No, I'll take your word for it. I don't want to try it. Just shows you how Super League has evolved in that when we started doing this, no one was putting their goggles and cap on as they were running and then realising that they had to do it all of a sudden.
And we've seen the refinement in transitions. They've just got quicker and quicker and quicker in transitions. And look, Rachel Klammer straight out. What a transition that was.
It just shows you this pace as we head towards Tokyo 2020, sprint distance and a mixed team relay. And this is where those little 1%ers are refined, reformed, and put into action by a lot of these athletes who'll be in the Olympics next year in Tokyo in similar conditions as well as they head into the water for the 2nd time. So 1 triathlon done, 2 triathlons to go. Rachel Klammer is our leader. Look for Emma Jeffcoat to have a big swim here as well.
But Charlotte McShane really needs to run as quickly as she can down this ramp and get straight on the back of Yuko Takahashi's feet. She's giving herself a lot to do. Same with Laura Lindemann. It's much easier to be in that swim group in front where they're moving the water forward, sitting in drafting, being alone with the type of swim power in this front group. There's Yuko Takahashi jumping on the back.
This does not look fun at all. But off they go, and at a nice clip too, into the water for the 2nd time. Just a reminder, there's double championship points on offer for this weekend. So in terms of round points, you can get 25 maximum yesterday, 25 maximum today. And your score out of 50 gives you a ranking for the weekend. So our weekend winner, our round winner, will take home $20,000 US. But that ranking usually gives you a maximum of 25 championship points to take forward. This weekend, they'll take 50 championship points. So 40% of the points on offer across the season are to be decided today here in Singapore. Katie Zafiris, your championship leader, 31 points ahead.
And the yellow flag.
Rachel Klammer, Taylor Spivey. Here goes the eliminated flag again. And eliminated is Megan Foley of the US. 26-year-old from Salt Lake City, has put everything she can into it. A 4-year Division 1 college swimmer.
What you start to see in this 2nd swim is where the swimmers come to fruition. It's good technique, good ability to float in the water, and technique matters when you're tired. And it's the learned swimmers, or the runners we used to call them back in my day, the learned swimmers that tend to struggle in this 2nd and 3rd swim. And if you look across the screen now, they're all seasoned swimmers leading this. Their technique's magnificent. They float well in the water, and they just tend to move up when they're tired in the water.
You can't replicate a childhood spent in the water. Believe me, I'm trying to learn how to swim properly myself. Getting technique training, it is horrible. Not fun. Emma Jeffcoat, though, she's been doing it a long time. She's got a surf life-saving background. So she's used to water choppier than this. It's practically still out there.
Ashley Gentle just starting to drift off the back. And I wonder if that's a forced pace by Summer Rappaport. She's on the front. She's a magnificent swimmer, Summer, a magnificent runner. But with Emma Jeffcoat, it's not as quick as it can be. We tend to see quick races when they single file it out, but she's definitely putting a lot of effort in to distance herself from the women at the back of this field and put them in danger of being eliminated. Establishing a front group in this next bike ride makes things a lot easier as you start to fatigue.
If the pace is pushed by our front runners, we saw the gaps here. You can see at the top of your screen, athletes just heading out on their swim. The 90-second rule could start to come into effect. We're only on the 4th of 9 legs here. Anytime through transition, athletes come in 90 seconds behind our leaders. They will be eliminated, along with, if they are not part of, the 2 that already are going to be eliminated. So we could see big chunks of our field disappearing as this race progresses.
See, Emma Jeffcoat was just sitting off the hip of Summer Rappaport there, which is the easiest place for Emma to be in, but makes it very, very difficult to swim if you're Summer. It slows things up. She's now slid to the back behind her feet, and will keep the pace a little bit quicker. Summer would be relieved about that. Can set up a transition now, and again, we're going to look what's happening at the back of the pack.
Well, I think if they don't look up, we're going to hit the side of the pontoon. Someone's going to.
Fogged goggles. Those humid, foggy goggles make it difficult to see.
All right, the pace certainly on. They're strung out nearly single file, at least through the first part, and then out the back. There's a pack of about 10 perhaps, and then a couple straggling to try and close that gap, and we'll see who can manage it out of the water. There's a mat under the water there. You can see yesterday we didn't have that. It was very slippery, but Summer Rappaport hops up. Emma Jeffcoat there as well. Clamour and Zephyrus ahead of Spivey, Perio, Takahashi, Cassandra Beaugrand.
And what a great swim by Charlotte McShane.
Absolutely, she's back into that pack.
Swim by Charlotte McShane. This is Ashley Gentle.
She'll do her best to bridge straight across as she can.
And Laura Lindemann had a great swim as well to swim on the back of Ashley. She wants to get Ashley Gentle's wheel on the bike, because you know one thing, Ashley will work until she gets onto this back of this group. And this is where the racing starts to start in the Enduro format. This next bike ride is where the fatigue is starting to settle in. You're thinking, wow, I've done a lot of work. It's getting hot. I've got another swim, bike and run to do, another run after this. This is where it all starts to happen.
So a bunch of athletes coming out there at the same time. Clamour, Perio, Takahashi, Spivey. A little bit further back, Cassandra Beaugrand, who didn't look too rushed. And we've had a problem there. Laura Lindemann, what fell out of her shoe? There was an inner sole.
Inner sole, yes.
So that shouldn't hurt her too much. She's done a lot of work to get onto the back, as you say, of Ash Gentle, but she comes out of there 8 seconds back. So she had a little bit of trouble there in transition. Not a quick one, because she was only a couple of seconds out of the water.
Daniel
Further back, yep, Di Francesco, who's holding on in 12th position, but a long way back now. We'll see the times as they go through transition and how close they're getting towards that 90 seconds. Some of these athletes at the back here. Hilda Choi out of the water. From Hong Kong, already had a couple of races in 2019. 74 ITU starts, the 24-year-old, so she's very, very experienced, especially in these conditions.
Starting to get in the danger zone now. We're getting the time's ticking away. At 90 seconds, they'll be eliminated. But they're also in that position where the last two are taken out of the race. So
we're going to see some eliminations right now as they head out on the bike. They're already at the back end of the course and coming back around.
And now with Katie on the front, it's more likely to happen. This is where she really comes into her own now. This is where her strength is a strength, and she starts to get stronger and stronger. It tightens the screw, tightens it, winds it up, and already a small group have got away.
In that group, Katie Zephyrus, Emma Jeffcoat sitting in second ahead of Leonie Perio, who keeps moving up. Rachel Clamour there as well. Takahashi is there.
It's Taylor Spivey.
At the back, yeah, Spivey and Beaugrand, who are both huge threats in this Super League Triathlon Championship and in the round. As they come around for the first of 5 bike laps once again, and Erin Story has been shown the yellow flag, the American, who's been great and improved throughout this Super League Championship, 27-year-old. She's one who's been a competitive swimmer since an early age. And she's been a great addition to our championship, but her time in this championship is now done. Zephyrus, Jeffcoat and Perio are your 3 in a group of, I think, 8. 7 perhaps at the back is Cassandra Beaugrand.
This should be Ashley Gentle coming around next, who really needs to ride up onto this group. And I think they start to be aware of who possesses a danger to the overall now. And with Ashley Gentle trying to get across, they want to keep her away out of this next run. She's probably one of the quickest runners on course, and make her do a lot more work than she needs to do going into this next swim.
So in that group is Clamour and Spivey. So that match race continues, but at the head of it is Katie Zephyrus, who needs to finish the whole round 7th or lower. Sorry, 8th or lower.
Charlotte McShane there.
If she finishes 7th or higher, she will ensure her victory in the championship. At the moment, she won yesterday and she's leading today, so I don't see how that's going to happen, barring some kind of mishap. And we're about to see a lapped athlete in Claudia Seebock. You can see there at the front of your screen. She'll be lapped and eliminated from the race. Hopefully she moves to the side and lets this train through, if that is indeed what happens.
Yeah, day's over.
Zephyrus, Jeffcoat, Perio, Clamour, Rappaport, Takahashi, Spivey. And at the end of the day for Hilda Choi from Hong Kong, making her Super League debut this weekend here in Singapore in the grand final, and also held is Claudia Seebach, the Hungarian. Qualified through Poznan, got the last spot available in the Poznan qualifier, the 21-year-old, who's second in the sprint national champions in Hungary last year, former national junior champion as well. She's got a big career ahead of her, and her learning curve in Super League has been immense. You see the energy gel hanging out of Rachel Klammer's mouth.
She looks so focused today, Rachel Klammer. She stayed up near the front all race. She seems to be thinking things through. You saw her in the swim straight on Emma Jeffcoat's feet. She's very, very aware Taylor Spivey's moving up. She seems to be very, very aware of where everybody is today.
All right, 2 athletes eliminated from the swim, 2 athletes eliminated thanks to the 90-second rule, and suddenly we are starting to lose some numbers, but at the front, all is progressing on point for Katie Zafiris, Rachel Klammer and Taylor Spivey, our championship contenders, and they've got a lot of class between them as well, and where they finish in this group, if indeed no one else joins them, will be incredibly important in terms of the championship overall. Not forgetting that there is $20,000 US on offer for the round win. Zafiris taking on some electrolytes. It's very, very hot here in Singapore. And when it comes to Super League, this is as long a race as you can do. The cap and goggles tucked in for the next time they hit the water after the run.
You saw Rachel Klammer have a big look back to count who was in that group, and I think she was looking for both Charlotte McShane and Ashley Gentle. She knows we've got a big run coming up. Both women are very capable runners. And you start to do the math. You think, I'm more comfortable with 7 or 8, and there's the 2 she was looking for right there. And Laura Lindeman's been solo for this entire bike ride, and that was a problem from that first run. She gave that gap up in the first run, wasn't able to close the gap in the swim, and it makes for a difficult day. And as those eliminated athletes start to go, we lost 4 in the last round, suddenly you find yourself last and you're gone.
It's hard to keep an eye on exactly how many people are behind you on this course too. Not a lot of corners, only 1 through transition where you can get a bit of a look. There is your top 6 on the 4th lap of 5 in the second of 3 bike legs. Bogran and Rappaport, so 8 riders out there at the moment. And if just getting an update on Danielle Di Francesco, who has made it through to the second bike, which is good work from her. She will be happy with that. I spoke to her this morning, as I said.
But they're moving quite quick. They'd be moving rapidly in on Danielle Di Francesco right now.
Yeah, she's right on the bubble of the 90-second rule, so she is flirting with being eliminated. And for her, sitting in 13th in the championship, every single point counts when it comes to the top 10 getting contracts, which are incredibly lucrative for... And there is your chase group, actually. Ash Gentle and Charlotte McShane by themselves. Now, Ashley Gentle, who finished 3rd yesterday, is 14th overall, so a good result here could catapult her into the top 10, you'd think. And Charlotte McShane is in 8th. No, 9th, sorry, on the bubble with Cassandra Bogran, who's up in this front pack. So contracts on the line for our top 10 to go through on championship points. The others will have to qualify through 3 qualifiers, of details of which you can find on superleaguetriathlon.com. And there is Ash Gentle, and there's Danielle Di Francesco, who makes it through to the second bike, but is eliminated midway through on the time rule. So we've lost 5 athletes in short order. Di Francesco had a good bike yesterday in the opening stage, but found some grief with an accident. Very sore. She says he had about 3 hours sleep last night, which is not enough to cope with these conditions.
Summer Rappaport's been on the back of that group. It's both Summer and Cassandra both been sitting there. I think Cassandra's done it out of choice. Summer's been forced back there. Emma Jeffcoat's played a really smart game. She's probably led 50% of this bike course, and Katie Zafiris has just sat off her. Emma just loves to be in that position on the front. Katie just looks so controlled, and I'm impressed with both Rachel and Taylor Spivey, who've just been shadowing each other, looking for a moment's opportunity to take the other one over.
Just 2 points between Rachel Klammer and Taylor Spivey. And whoever wins this race, you'd think,
it's $50,000.
Will win $50,000. Yeah. And that is, I mean, I know how much some of these people make, and $50,000 is not an insignificant sum. well, for anyone really, but for a triathlete, absolutely. It's a good amount of money, and that's what we want to offer people in Super League Triathlon. There's Ash Gentle and Charlotte McShane, who are stuck to each other like glue as they try to work together to bridge this gap back to the top 8. There effectively is your top 10, 9th and 10th. But, you know, Ash Gentle is one who improves across the course of a weekend, as is Charlotte McShane, and across the course of a race as well. So
it's Laura Lindemann from Germany.
She is the third group.
Yes. And I'm interested to know who's behind her, because this is going to be a massive next run. It's the bell lap. They get off the bike now. It's a massive 2-lap run. And it's Lucy Hall, I think, that's just behind Laura Lindemann on her own. But as we get into this transition, this is the run that matters. Ashley Gentle needs to run back up. She's probably given them 10 or 15 seconds. And these women here need to keep this group as tight together as they possibly can, or start to make their moves.
Some high-quality runners amongst them as well. Absolutely. Summer Rapport coming in 8th. She is one of the best runners in triathlon. We know Bogran is, we know Zafiris is, we know Klammer can run. We've seen Jeffcoat can run, and Spivey is quick on her feet as well, and she's had a good transition there.
And here's Ashley Gentle and Charlotte McShane, probably about 10 seconds, 15 seconds back. But geez, Rachel Klammer again, quick through transition. Everything seems to be sparky with Rachel Klammer today. She knows a lot's on the line, and she seems to have that, I want this face on. She's been magnificent.
All right, the two Australians come out together, as they have been across the course of the bike, and a little move there from Klammer and Jeffcoat, who've just gapped Katie Zafiris and Laura Lindemann. Well, her day and her weekend is over as well, the German.
Well, they're the last two off the bike. So Laura Lindemann and Lucy Hall, I think, have been eliminated, not knowing that others have been eliminated on time, have found themselves at the back of the race and gone. Last two are done. Now it's Yuko Takahashi at the back that may be eliminated in this run leg.
So are we down then to 10?
We're down to 10, but 2 go now. So Yuko Takahashi has dropped off the back, has now put herself in a position to be eliminated, and 1 from this group.
Ashley Gentle,
oh no, he's got Charlotte McShane and Ashley Gentle.
And also eliminated is Lucy Hall, coming back after a tough 2018 with illness and injury. So Laura Lindemann, number 5, number 92, Lucy Hall, gets some congratulations from the crowd. And Yuko Takahashi now is finally in the going tough. The Japanese, only Asian athlete who races the whole SLT circuit. A lot of support for Yuko Takahashi this weekend.
In the silver transition jersey, the fastest in transition from the last round.
Asian champion 2017 and 18. Former duathlon national champion as well. So we are on to the 6th discipline, and the cream of the crop remain here in the women's enduro. 10 athletes left. We have lost 13. Rachel Klammer, Katie Zafiris, Emma Jeffcoat, Summer Rappaport, Cassandra Bogran and Leonie Perriot are your lead group as it stands. That is 6 athletes. We will arrive at a Super 6, you would have thought, and it could be these 6.
When you do the math, you've got Gentle and McShane at the back here. 2 are going to go in this run. Yuko Takahashi's just dropped. Ashley Gentle has to run across to Yuko Takahashi, which means Charlotte McShane and Takahashi will be eliminated after this run. But then Ashley Gentle
is all on her own.
Is all on her own.
Well,
swim,
or McShane or Takahashi.
McShane.
Let's not be biased.
No, well, you're going to lose 2 now. So
yeah, but which 2 are they going to be? You're assuming it's going to be Charlotte McShane and Yuko Takahashi.
Well,
it's a fair assumption.
It's a fair assumption. I think Ashley Gentle's running through, as you can see. You'll see Yuko Takahashi's going backwards. There your back 3, so 2 of these are going. I think Ashley Gentle's got her eyes on Yuko Takahashi, but all she's doing is saving herself for an extra swim.
We don't necessarily know that Ashley Gentle knows that she's in the bottom 3, or McShane.
Exactly, she wouldn't. Actually, she wouldn't know.
But she knows she's got to put as many people as she can behind her to survive in this race, as the top 7 athletes. Is there 7? Yes, there is. Sorry, I thought there was 6. There is, in fact, 7 athletes in that lead group, of which Emma Jeffcoat is now at the back.
So this is going to be a swim for Emma Jeffcoat's life, really, because one of them are going after the swim. But really, it's this is the whole purpose of the Enduro format. By eliminating at the back, it encourages pace up the front. You have to keep pushing forward. You can't drift back. You have to be tactically aware of where everybody else is. You have to manage your effort to make sure you're able to kick and win the event, but stay out of danger. It's a brutal format, a brutal format.
Well, it's your fault. You made it up. And these fine athletes are experiencing it. And Emma Jeffcoat will know that she needs, you're right, to make the most of this swim because the pace is very hot out there. There is Takahashi, and I think Ashley Gentle is overtaking her because that is Charlotte McShane in the background, who is now our 10th athlete in this race. But she's not seeing a yellow. Oh, that is right, there is one more lap to go. Even I'm getting confused. There is our front runners. And there's a little gap back now to Emma Jeffcoat. You can just see her in the background there behind Cassandra Beaugrand. With Summer Rappaport, number 99. 5th overall in the championship. A big points haul here would help her very much in terms of final positions. And Rachel Clammer and Taylor Spivey are stuck together like glue.
Taylor's really followed Rachel all day. Rachel's been aware of everyone that's going around, and Taylor sort of stuck off the back of Katie Zaferis going, if anybody's going to be near the front, it's going to be her. And it's the first time I've seen her run with a bit of purpose. She's moved right up. She knows this is a business end. She's got a fantastic swim on her. Has to be careful of the elimination, so getting in that water first is critical. Transitions are key. And this is really the business end now. Trying to pick the weakest swimmer here is, you know, their distance is Emma Jeffcoat. They know she's got a big swim, so they've forced this run. There's a bit of distance, and it's left Emma with a lot to do. Ashley Gentle in the background with a big run. Very big run.
Yeah, she's put a lot of distance into Yuko Takahashi and Charlotte McShane, who are still out there and trying to avoid being in the bottom two. But at this point, you'd have to say it might be the end of the race for them at 6 of the 9 disciplines as they go through the chicane once again. And Ashley Gentle has a look across to see where her opponents are. And Yuko Takahashi is labouring somewhat along with Charlotte McShane, and they're still putting time into Emma Jeffcoat as Rachel Clammer decides to put the hammer down a little bit more, and we're up to a group of 6 as they come across the back end of the course on the tarmac under the trees for a little bit of blessed shade. And there is Charlotte McShane, who looks down that long stretch of tarmac and sees Yuko Takahashi. I'm not sure whether she knows at this point that passing Takahashi will not help her avoid being eliminated, but she'll aim for that no matter what. Clammer, though, at the front, and behind her, that familiar running style of Katie Zaferis as Summer Rappaport, again, the first to get the goggles out of the swimmers and pop them on.
Emma Jeffcoat has a big swim. She knows that. Ashley Gentle will be trying to get as close to Emma Jeffcoat as she possibly can, going into the water, and probably use her feet to, knowing if anyone's going to go forward, it's going to be Emma Jeffcoat to potentially get on the back of that group and save the elimination in this next swim, because we're going to lose Charlotte McShane and Yuko Takahashi now. Last 2 across the line in this run leg. The same applies for the next swim leg.
So 6 at the front: Rachel Clammer, Summer Rappaport, Cassandra Beaugrand, Katie Zaferis, Leonie Perriot, so 2 French women, 2 Americans. Clammer, the Dutch woman, at the front. And at the back of that group is Taylor Spivey, a 3rd American. So I wouldn't expect them to work together too much, though. It's every woman for herself at this point. Jeffcoat and Gentle, the 2 Australians, chasing.
7th and 8th going into this swim. So the next 2 are eliminated. That's 10th and 9th.
Yeah, there's the flag.
Here it comes.
No, I don't. It gives me shivers just looking at it. After all that work to be shown the elimination flag. But nevertheless, we carry on. Last time into the water, last of 3 back-to-back triathlons. Unique to Super League, this format, as they all are. And a true test of your transitions and of your speed and endurance as Yuko Takahashi of Japan and Charlotte McShane of Australia both get a blessed rest. They wouldn't have liked that, but they've done incredibly well. Summer Rappaport just runs a little bit further along than she maybe had to. It's
a straighter line to the buoy in the centre of the transition area, the centre of the pontoon. So maybe... So these 6, this is our Super 6. If they stay together, they cannot be eliminated. You can only lose 2 more. We have to finish with 6, and at the moment, that's Emma Jeffcoat and Ashley Gentle, who'll be the last 2 into the water. They go in now. Emma Jeffcoat, a magnificent swimmer in our blue swimmer's jersey. If anybody can swim up, it is her, but it has to be a big, big swim. She's swimming for her life now.
50 metres, you'd think that she'd have to cover of a 300-metre swim, and there are some high-quality swimmers in this group. I'm not sure who's at the back there. Perhaps it's Leonie Perriot.
On paper, she's the weaker swimmer, Leonie Perriot, but it's a great position to be in with 6 feet to follow. The water's moving forward. She can get clear water around the swim buoys. Sometimes it's a little easier in a smaller group, but there's some serious swimming horsepower.
Really
Summer
is.
Rappaport all day has been magnificent, leading the swims.
So Summer Rappaport leads. Rachel Clammer there on the rider screen in the green. Alongside her, I think that might be Taylor Spivey. I just assume it is. No, it's Katie Zafira, sorry, our championship leader in the pink.
Taylor Spivey sitting right on her hip. That's the best place to be to conserve your energy. It's terrible for Katie Zafiris, but for Rachel Clammer, you just get towed.
So Summer Rappaport, if you are just joining us, used to be Summer Cook. Got engaged and married over, well, I don't know when she got engaged. She got married over the Christmas break.
Yes.
Maybe it was that quick, maybe it wasn't, I'm not sure. Former runner from Villanova, worked so hard on her bike leg, and it's paying dividends here in the Enduro.
She was sitting in the 2nd position overall in the series until the last round in Mallorca, where she really struggled on the big climb. So she definitely has the pedigree to win a round, to win an event like this, and to really upset these top 6. And she seems to be racing with a lot more purpose than we saw. She seems more comfortable on this course than she did in Mallorca in the last round.
Yep.
And she dived into what I saw her run wide on the pontoon, confidence, and there's your 6.
There's our whole field, the 6 at the front. Emma Jeffcoat rounding the 2nd buoy, Ashley Gentle rounding the 1st buoy, probably a bridge too far for maybe both of them. And there is Ashley Gentle in the water. She's about to turn for home, and 150 metres between her and elimination, you would think. Summer Rappaport at the front, continuing on her way. She had a podium in Cape Town a couple of weeks ago, despite a stomach bug that had her only eating rice for a few days and a couple of bananas. So she said it helped her race without anxiety and worry, because she wasn't expecting anything, and off she went in her first race as a Rappaport onto the podium. No doubt a big boost for her mentally at the start of 2019, and she's showing that she can continue that form here in the very warm waters of Singapore. Katie Zafira sitting on her feet, knowing she just has to finish in this group, and she will be our Super League champion. Behind her, Taylor Spivey, Leonie Perriot in that group with Cassandra Beaugrand, the 2 French women.
Grant's either tactically opted to sit at the back there or is a little fatigued. She's just sat off the back all day. She hasn't forced anything. We saw yesterday she was very, very eager to be at the front and force her hand, but today she's just sat off the back. I don't know whether it's fatigue, it's a tactical decision, but we're going to find out now, because this is the business end. Summer Rappaport has a beautiful open water swim technique, massive catch. Very, very swim straight lines, just nailed that to perfection. If it's 300 metre swim, she swam 300 metres. She didn't go an inch too far, inch further than she had to.
Rappaport, Zafiris and Spivey, 3 Americans. Leonie Perriot, Rachel Clammer and Cassandra Beaugrand are your Super 6. These 6 will race through to the end. 2 more disciplines to go.
No one else can be eliminated, except for the last two out of the water now, but these 6 on the front are safe.
Emma Jeffcoat will be eliminated. Fantastic race from her, though. And Ashley Jenner will be eliminated as well. And there is the yellow flag at the bottom of your screen.
I don't think she was aware. She's asking a few questions of the race, of Michael Thompson, the race referee. I'm at the back, yes. And there's Ashley Jenner. 3rd yesterday.
Didn't realise she was at the back. That's what happens when the 90-second rule comes into effect. It's not just 2 at each discipline, it can be more, so race awareness is key, and there's not a lot of places to see the rest of your opponents around this course, but the 2 Australians share a moment.
They train together, those 2. They've been in New Zealand preparing for the WTS season and Olympic representation for Australia. Good friends.
Super 6 time, 2 disciplines to go, 5 laps on the bike, 2 laps on the run, and your women's enduro and championship winners will be decided. 2 French women, 3 Americans, and a Dutch wild card in Rachel Clammer.
And those 2, Rachel Clammer and Taylor Spivey at the back of the group. For the first time, it's the furthest back I've seen Rachel Clammer all day. And this is when fatigue really starts to come in. You think you're on your eighth discipline, as you said. You're tired, it's really, really hot. You're thinking about the run that's about to come. It might only be 2 kilometres, but it's a long, hot 2 kilometres. And you've just got to stay as close in this group as you possibly can and save as much as you possibly can for this run.
A little bit of water on board for Perio and for Spivey as they head down the back of the course for the first of 5 times. And they couldn't be closer, Klammer and Spivey. We're really enjoying this race between these two. We keep saying it, but it's for $50,000. Effectively, whoever wins this race between the two of them should launch themselves into 2nd position overall in the championship and a $50,000 payday. But that woman in pink at the front there, Katie Zafiris, she led 8 of the 9 legs of the Enduro in Jersey, and a little bit slower to make her way to the front this time around. But she's here when it matters, and she could take out the championship with a perfect race weekend of 2 wins and 50 points, if indeed she can hold off the likes of Rappaport, Perio, Beaugrand, Klammer and Spivey, and win today to add to her eliminator win yesterday.
The French have been magnificent on both days. They're tactically and technically magnificent on swim, bike and run. They sit well on a bike. Laura Perio in particular. Taylor Spivey looks a little tired, the American on the back, but she's so slight a frame. She just seems to slink through this chicane right here, come straight back onto the group, and get a ride along the whole back section of this bike course, which is exactly the way you want to race this. Save the legs for the big run.
1,800-metre run to come after this. 2 laps around this 900-metre course, and all of the biscuits will be decided. $1.5 million on the line, and it'll be dealt out to our championship and round winners here. And again in the men's enduro later on, the temperature just starting to slowly drop. They get the best of the conditions. The men racing 2nd both times this race weekend. Doesn't always work out that way.
That's a better position for Taylor Spivey. She's watching Rachel Klammer and assuming that Rachel's on game. Sometimes you spend your whole time watching the athlete that you're supposed to be watching, and you think, hang on a second, and the race moves up. And I think it's the first time I've seen Rachel Klammer not dictating terms in this race. Whether that's a tactical decision, I don't know, but she seemed to be a lot further back now. And now it's Summer Rappaport that's been pushed to the back, because this woman on screen right now, Katie Zafiris, just keeps winding it up, winding it up. You see out of every turn those gaps open. It stings the legs as you have to, the concertina effect as the peloton opens up, comes back together, and it's very, very difficult to be on the back in that situation.
Of all 6 of these athletes, you'd have to say Summer Rappaport has I guess the most work to do. She's very tall, and she has had an ongoing journey, I suppose, with her technical bike skills.
But she seems to be, the good thing with Summer in this race is she's stayed in this front group, and she has worn the red jersey in the Super League Series. She has a big run on her, and I'm thinking she'll grab more and more confidence as she gets closer to the end of this bike ride. She does put a tendency to drift back and leave a lot of work to do, as she's always last out of transition, but she has such a big run, she could run herself into the win or into the podium.
Certainly hope so. She's been very strong and very consistent across the course of Super League Triathlon, and a great addition to the series, no doubt. At the moment, she's sitting in 6th position as we head out around the back of the course one more time.
Taylor Spivey's gone straight to the front. So I stand corrected. I said she looked a little tired, straight to the front to prove me wrong. And that's the place she wants to be. You look at Rachel Klammer, that's the 2. The Rachel in green, Taylor Spivey in the front are racing for 2nd and 3rd position in the overall championship.
What a race, though, and what a masterful lesson in positioning from Katie Zafiris, who always feels like the race revolves around where Katie is, and all the other women are looking to where Katie is, and maybe not attacking and just really waiting a little bit too long, and allow Katie Zafiris over the course of 9 legs to position herself perfectly and run away to a win. And that's happened so many times across the course of this season.
If you watch Katie Zafiris on this course in particular, I saw it yesterday, I saw it earlier in the race, I was going to comment, she's the only woman that glances across on this section to see who's in the group. She seems very, very aware of where everybody is on course. A lot of the other athletes just tend to be focusing on the athletes around them. Katie is always counting heads, always looking around. She's so tactically astute, and she races with so much purpose. That's what makes her so marvelous as an athlete. She continually dictates terms. and ultimately wins races.
Absolutely right. She does win a lot of races. That's why she's our championship leader. And in fact, our top 3 in the championship, our 3 contenders for the top spot are in the top 3 in this race. Exactly how we would like to see this pan out. The 2 French women and Summer Rappaport are chasing them, but Taylor Spivey, 3rd in terms of our current athletes who are on top of the ladder, without Kirsten Casper there. Rachel Klammer 2nd, and Katie Zafiris on top. But all of these athletes will be, you'd think, contracted again in 2019 and 20, although Leonie Perriot finds herself quite a way down the leaderboard. This big result, and yesterday, could catapult her up into contract position.
Yeah. She's had a big weekend of racing, Leonie. She hasn't really shone. She showed some glimmers of hope in Jersey. She struggled elsewhere, but this weekend she's been marvellous. I'm interested to see Cassandra Beaugrand on this run. She's considered, you saw it yesterday, but she's considered in the triathlon world the best runner, the biggest talent in the world of triathlon right now, one of the favourites to win the Tokyo Olympics. She's a superstar. She was outrun yesterday by Katie Safaris, fair and square, and all day today she's just sat off the back tactically. Whether that's a tactical decision or a fatigue decision, I'm yet to see, but it's going to come down to this next run as they come into the bell lap.
All right, 1 more lap on the bike, 2 laps on the run, and the season will be done. And our champion crowned here at Super League Triathlon Singapore, the grand final, the culmination of 4 amazing rounds from September in Jersey to Malta to Mallorca, and now to 1 degree north of the equator here in Singapore. 32 degrees in the air, 29 degrees in the water. That's Celsius, so that means it is hot. And you can see that these athletes have arrived here in peak condition after tough off seasons. Taylor Spivey has been training in Spain. Katie Zafiris spending time at home in the US. Rachel Klammer training in Africa, so she's used to the heat. Perriot, Beaugrand, and Summer Rappaport are our 6. Last lap on the bike, a good transition will be key.
You've got to start thinking of position now. If you're thinking it, if you're thinking of winning this race, you've got to move up. You've got to get a quick transition. You don't want to give seconds away when it matters. Everybody's fatigued, everybody's tired. To make 2 seconds up over 2 kilometres is very, very difficult to do. So you need to move up, and Taylor Spivey needs to beat Rachel Klammer in the green jersey there by 2 places. If she beats her by 2 places, she passes her in the overall championship.
No, that's for the round.
Oh, for the round.
The championship is different.
Championship's different.
5th yesterday for Rachel Klammer, 7th for Taylor Spivey.
We'll equal the points, and we'll go to round points.
Yeah, they will end up on equal points, but the Sunday result will decide who comes through in terms of our round podium. The championship is different.
Well, Taylor's very aware. She moves straight in the front. She's first in. This is the place to be. Clever racing by Taylor Spivey. Rachel Klammer in 3rd. The French at the back. Summer Rappaport, who's probably got one of the biggest runs here. Again, last off the bike. Leaves
certainly a helpful spot to be number 1 for Taylor Spivey. She was very happy when she ended up in transition spot 1 thanks to our slot draw, and she'll go first out. So as it stands, if it's like this, Taylor Spivey will
Klammer's out.
Take 2nd.
Beaugrand's out.
But our top 3 championship contenders are 1, 2, and 3 out of transition for the final time. If it stays like this, Katie Zafiris will be our champion. And then
Leonie,
I think Taylor Spivey might overtake Rachel Klammer and take the $50,000 if she can stay ahead of Klammer. She will also take 2nd in the round if she can keep Katie Zafiris between them.
Wow. What a run.
So there is a lot on the line for Taylor Spivey, and she knows it. Tough day yesterday, came off the bike the first time through the chicane in stage 1 of the Eliminator. But she has bounced back, she stayed in it, she finished top 10. And now she's looking for a win, but Katie Zafiris is right on her.
And there's Cassandra Beaugrand, who's just eased away past Rachel Klammer.
Klammer looks to be
a little fatigued.
Right in the red zone there.
But it was a big statement by Taylor Spivey to get into transition first, to get out first, to really dictate that first 200 or 300 metres of the run. And sometimes you can bluff it. Everyone else thinks, oh, she's a lot better than I am, a lot fitter, fresher, I'm out, I'm happy with 4th. But whereas Klammer just paced that. Okay. Katie's moves straight to the front again. She's dictating, and there's Summer Rappaport at the back.
Zefiris now leads this one. She's put the hammer down, and it's 1-2 with her and Cassandra Beaugrand, exactly like it was yesterday. These two, we named them as the present and the future of sprint level triathlon, and it's showing to be exactly the same today. Beaugrand, obviously.
Cassandra looks very, very good, very comfortable. She hasn't panicked at all. She sat back all day. We wondered whether that was a fatigue thing or a tactical thing. She hasn't rushed to get back up onto Katie's shoulder. She's eased her way up. Leonie Perrier at the back there.
Speaking of easing their way up, Spivey, who came out so quickly, has now got Rachel Klammer right on her tail. So if she can't keep someone between them, Spivey, presuming she can stay in front, then that's going to change things in terms of the round and the championship, we think.
She had a big glance then at Rachel
Perrio's
Klammer.
now ahead of Spivey. So a move from the French woman, and Klammer's gone past as well. So at the front, it's Zefiris and Beaugrand. Beaugrand not featuring in the championship race, but certainly she's racing for a contract, and you'd think she'd get one of them. Zefiris will likely be your championship winner if she can stay in the top two.
Taylor Spivey's been dropped by Rachel Klammer, and Leonie Perrier is Rachel Klammer's ticket to distance herself from Taylor Spivey. Leonie Perrier is committed to getting onto the front too. Cassandra Beaugrand very relaxed. We know that Katie Zafaris will not let her go.
What a weekend though from Leonie Perrier. We know because she's not figuring in our round or championship predictions, we don't talk about her enough, but she is having an absolute stormer of a weekend. Some real work done by the French woman. Part of that French Fab Five we've got. We know how good they are over these distances. There's Spivey going past the camera, a good couple of seconds behind Rachel Klammer. Beaugrand takes Zefiris at the front. Perriot in third. Klammer right behind, extending their gap on Taylor Spivey. 50,000 on the line between those two. Behind then, Summer Rappaport, who you'd think would probably finish in sixth position as it stands. But at the moment, Beaugrand, number 55, the French woman, the national sprint champion of France, won WTS Hamburg. She's the mixed team relay world championship winner, member of that team. Finished second in the grand final in the Gold Coast in the under-23s as well. European mixed team relay champion too. But Zefiris, world number 2, absolutely accomplished and knows how to race this format. Spivey, the gap just widening between her and Klammer. Perriot trying to bridge back across. Klammer in front of her.
Here goes Katie. This is what we saw yesterday. You saw Cassandra Beaugrand push it along this straight yesterday. Katie moved to the front, started to squeeze, got that distance. Cassandra had nothing to respond, but this time, I'm not too sure. Everybody looks fatigued. You're seeing Rachel Klammer run back onto the back of them, and Leonie Perrier now in difficulty. And wouldn't it be a real turn of events if those two got across to the front too?
That's not out of the realm of possibility at this point.
Klammer's almost on there.
Klammer looked like potentially she was gone, and now she's right back on.
Get through this chicane, and she could be right on the back of both the front runners, and Taylor Spivey showing the first signs of fatigue.
So Rachel Klammer has had a great weekend, dug deep into her reserves for a 5th yesterday. She's pushed the pace all the way through. Always starting to think about her for awards we hand out later on in the evening. Yeah, we like the most combative athlete. We like the best on-round athlete. Bonuses available for them, and Rachel Klammer is certainly pressing her claims for one of those.
After today's performance, without question, but she's still in this. Right in it, and to run back onto these two, Cassandra Beaugrand considered the best runner in the sport. Katie Zafaris outran her yesterday. To run back on says a lot about her racing commitment today, and she's right there.
So 4 of the top 5 from yesterday's eliminator are our top 4 in the Enduro. Zefiris won yesterday from Beaugrand. Ashley Gentle was 3rd. Leonie Perriot 4th. Rachel Klammer 5th. So it's important in terms of round points. Zefiris took 25 yesterday and Beaugrand 21. If in fact it finishes like this, Beaugrand in front and Zefiris second, they'll end equal on points, but Beaugrand will be our round winner by virtue of her Sunday positioning. So it's really down to a foot race to see who wins the round between Cassandra Beaugrand and Katie Zafiris, just as it was yesterday. The two putting absolutely everything in. Clamours Gap Perio for third. She'll pick up second overall in the championship and $50,000 if it stays as it stands. But right now it's a foot race between Beaugrand and Zafiris for the round winner for $20,000 US. There's absolutely nothing in it. Katie Zafiris and Cassandra Beaugrand, the present and the future of triathlon. Who's going to take it? I think it's going to be Beaugrand.
Beaugrand. She's won the round.
There was a bit of a shoulder and an elbow there as well, but I think Cassandra Beaugrand has won it in a sprint.
And if she's won it, she's won the round.
If she's won it, she's taken $20,000. We'll have to see the replay, but I think based on the live pictures, it was Cassandra Beaugrand. I've nearly fallen off my chair. They're putting absolutely everything.
What a race from Cassandra Beaugrand. What a race for a 21-year-old athlete. Unbelievable.
That was absolutely superb racing. Katie Zafiris and Cassandra Beaugrand sprinting the last 300 in tough conditions. Summer Rappaport comes home in sixth. What a race in the Enduro after 9 legs to be split by, I don't know, 100th of a second.
Oh. Rachel Clamours getting taken to the medical.
Yeah. At the moment, our computers say dead heat. We'll wait to see if we can split the two of them. I have absolutely no idea what happens in the event of a dead heat in terms of round points, but we'll keep you updated. And she had to make herself a bit of room there. The shoulder, the elbow came out from Zafiris. And I feel like the hands...
It might have been the hands that grabbed the tape first.
Yeah, I mean, that happened yesterday when Clamours came across the line at the same time as Beaugrand in a stage, but here's the shot from above, and it looks to me as though the hands of Cassandra Beaugrand came out and took the tape first. We're still waiting for confirmation.
But we know one thing, and that's Katie Zafiris is our championship winner. She cannot
Cassandra
lose.
Beaugrand getting a little bit of medical attention. Good to see her getting up. She's put everything in.
We don't know the official. I think they all got a accident.
She had the lead, Katie Zafiris, early on. We're getting another angle from our cameras.
Oh, I can't pick it.
I can't pick it. All right, we're actually going to go down right now to the ice bath and hear from Katie Zafiris after that one with Annie Emerson.
Well, that is triathlon absolutely at its best, Katie. But it came down to a sprint at the end. It's unconfirmed, but it looks like that Cassandra had slightly the edge coming across the line. But what a fight you put up, Katie. What a fantastic race. How do you feel?
I feel really good. I felt like crap during the whole thing. So to be on the podium again, whether that's first or second, I'm really happy. And to get the overall, like, it's really good to be able to...
We're hearing that it's currently a dead heat on the computer, so I don't want to say anything yet, but at the moment they've got it down as a dead heat. But of course, we do know that you take the overall series, and that's what you came here to do. How does that feel, knowing that you're champion here today of the series?
It feels really good. It feels good to be consistent on way different courses, different weather, so I'm really happy.
And Cassandra Beaugrand, for a young athlete with not so much experience, put up an incredible fight today.
Oh my goodness, I mean, even from last year, you can see how much she's improved the swim and the bike. Like, she's going to be, she is a force to be reckoned with already. I'm excited for her for this year.
What a race to finish with, though. I think that, to me, looks like your toughest race of the Super League series.
Yeah, I think it was. It was hard from the start.
Congratulations, Katie. We're really happy. You've taken the series. Let's wait to see what happens in the overall race today.
Thank you so much.
So no matter what happens, Katie Zafiris is your championship winner with $100,000, but she wants the $20,000 as well. And here is the super slow motion. Your guess is as good as mine. The two come across the line, and let's have a look, Macca. What do we think? They're getting close. I like Beaugrand early. And I think they might touch the tape at the same time. Oh, I don't know what to do. I have no idea. We're going to wait. We've got all the boffins in the background doing all of the timing with Mika timing. We're going to throw back down to Annie right now. She's with Cassandra Beaugrand, who looks a little bit out of sorts. Annie.
Cassandra, what a race. Yesterday was tough. This was even tougher, but you held on to Katie. Looks like a dead heat. How are you feeling?
Actually, I'm so tired, and I can't believe it because on the race, during the race, I felt so bad and so tired, and it was just my head who is better than my body.
Did you believe at the end that you could stay with Katie on the run?
I just tried to be near her, and yes.
And the thoughts on this race, on the Enduro, it has to be one of the toughest triathlon events that there is.
It was the most the harder I have never.
Okay, congratulations. You've done a brilliant job today, Cassandra.
The hardest Cassandra Beaugrand has ever worked, the hardest triathlon she has ever done, and I don't think she'd get a lot of argument from the rest of our Super Six. There is Taylor Spivey in the ice bath along with Summer Rappaport and Katie Zafiris, 3 Americans. I think at this point it seems to me as though our championship winner, unconfirmed, is Katie Zafiris along with Rachel Klammer and then Taylor Spivey. We're going to have a look back in just a second at how it all shook out in the closing stages, and it was we thought for a second that Rachel Klammer was going to be able to bridge back with Leonie Perriot, who just suddenly looked strong again after a weak part in the beginning, or maybe in the bike and then the beginning of the run, but then Rachel Klammer found some reserves.
Cassandra controlled the run a lot better than she did yesterday in that last stage, and she didn't go out too quick. She made sure she kept Katie close to her. We saw yesterday Katie run her off her feet, and it was only with a late surge that Katie got the gap that Cassandra ultimately wasn't big enough and thought she could still close. And we saw that Taylor Spivey there really struggled after that first lap. She made dictated terms to most of the women, but drifted off the back.
Maybe burnt her matches a little bit early on that run, but then they turned into the home stretch, and Cassandra Beaugrand and Katie Zafiris truly showed their pedigree. The pair of them, very different stages in their careers, very different styles of triathletes as well, but both equally effective, and it came down to a pure foot race, which is exactly what we want to see in Super League Triathlon between Katie Zafiris, our championship leader, and Cassandra Beaugrand, who I'm just hearing right now is confirmed as our race and round winner. Cassandra Beaugrand got the win over Katie Zafiris, and this is how she did it, coming from behind. Squeezed out a little bit, but just reached for the tape at the right time, and that was all the difference in an hour-long race with 8 transitions and 9 legs. And there is our race winner and our round winner, Cassandra Beaugrand. Congratulations, first round win for her. We're going to head right back down now to Annie Emerson, who is with Rachel Klammer, who I think has wrapped up second in the championship.
Well, firstly, congratulations, unconfirmed, but it does look like you get second overall in the championships. We looked like we'd lost you there on the run, but you came back and at one point looked like you might even challenge the top 2 places. What was going on there?
I don't know. I was about to give up, and then I thought, no, you can't do this. You have to fight for it. It was awfully painful, really badly. I just thought, okay, it's only like just one more lap on the track, and then I can just sit down, do nothing, get fresh again. It was just really painful, but I just really wanted to fight for it.
Well, I have to say, you look amazingly fresh considering what you've been through. The Enduro has to be one of the toughest triathlon events that we've seen in terms of short course racing.
It was incredibly painful. I did not want to get eliminated. The last time we did this in Jersey, I got out after, I think, 2 rounds. So I tried to stay in the front for as long as I could. I thought I would rather finish 6th than getting eliminated. So after the second round, I thought, that's it, I've given everything. But I found some extra energy back. Maybe it was the gel, maybe some Red Bull there. I was like, I needed to get the energy, and yeah, managed to get back. I don't know how, but I did it.
Congratulations. Great race today, Rachel. Thank you.